gave it to a mate to read. He said, "Mate, it's fucking fantastic. Just go back and edit out the 427 fucks in the book, and you'll be golden." And so okay,
was that an Australian mate? Sounds like Australian advice.
Yes, mate.
That doesn't it?
Yes, mate. Yeah. I do tend to, he said the story, whatever. I understand that's it, but trust me. So I just went, edit,
How many were there?
FUCK, space. There were hundreds, mate.
It's very brightly colored and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while.
We want to be free to do what we want to do.
Muhammad Ali and Sonny Barker, President of the Hells Angels.
This is 1095.
Hey Simon, good morning. How you doing?
Morning, Matt. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, well, evening, not bad. Been a relatively long day, but I feel pretty alert. So, and I know you're just starting yours, right?
Yes, mate. Just having a cup of coffee, walk the dogs.
Sweet.
In a pretty a mood for my life, so I'm pretty happy.
Cool. I love my dog. Actually, I've got 2 dogs just on the left of me here. I'm just looking, so hopefully they're going to be good. But what dogs have you got?
2 golden doodles.
Like as in Labradoodle doodles, or what?
Well, mine is a golden doodle.
Yeah.
The other one is supposed to be a golden doodle, but we think it's a Labradoodle. When we do the Google thing, we take a picture and it tells you what type of breed you've got. It says Labradoodle. Other Labradoodles look the same as our dog, but
Right.
It was golden doodle according to the seller. But and they're both very, very different personalities. One's my girlfriend's, one's mine. We live very happily together. So like I say, dogs. Never been a dog person, but I love dogs now.
Sweet, same.
So,
they're the one thing you can trust. I mean, I hate this name for a dog, but we got a cockapoo. It's the worst name ever, but I think they look quite similar. Yeah. I think they look quite similar.
Yeah. They are gorgeous when they are little dogs. Oh my God, they just melt your heart.
Well, she's like 16, man. But anyway, this isn't a podcast about dogs. Although I could talk about dogs all day. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about your books, but actually, I thought just let's do it the other way around because I know you've been messaging me stuff, and we met already and had a bit of a chat, and you're at the beginning of your working day. So I thought let's just a little bit of a start off in terms of before we get into your writing career, of which you've got about 5 books to your name, if not more. But I know you got 5 we can quickly run over with a kind of analysis of. But yeah, in terms of your work, you work in neurology or physical? Tell me. I'm going to do a disservice if I try to explain.
And I'll do an even more disservice because I don't call myself anything other than some yobbo from Australia who has a foul mouth. And through my life experience, I've had a spinal cord injury myself. I've had a TBI. I've broken half the bones in my body.
Yeah.
Just that experience taught me everything that no doctor, no therapist, no spinal cord expert, no brain expert has any idea what it's like to be on the receiving end of an injury. And that is the most important thing. I once had a patient who told me that they have a little saying in Turkey, where he is from.
Yeah,
the guy falls off a wall and is lying on the ground, and someone runs up. "Oh, I'll get you a doctor." And the guy on the floor says, "No, get me a guy who's fallen off a wall before."
Yeah, right. Good point.
Yeah. And that sums it up. That sums it up.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a very good point. So. And I know reading your bio, you've had your fair share of accidents, right? Which we'll get onto maybe a bit later with one of the books, but you've certainly lived 9 lives in terms of the shit you've been through. So, but yes, the stuff you do now, the reason I want to talk about your work, because you have been a bit of a miracle worker. Certainly some of the videos you show me, and so you've dealt with people who've been pretty written off sometimes in terms of doctors just saying, "Sorry, mate, there's nothing we can do," right? And then you've given them whatever, physio work, people with spinal cord injuries where they're essentially unable to walk, unable to move, and you've been help them back to mobility essentially, right?
That's right. I get everyone after they've failed. Everyone else pretty much at this stage. I used to get people when I worked in the hospital. I would get people, fresh meat, as we used to call it, and that's far easier because I can sit there and straight away say as soon as the doctors have written off, I can walk in after the doctor and say, "Don't listen to him. If I can listen to me, I'll tell you what to do." And it's much easier when I've got a patient then someone who's contacted me from the Netherlands who's just saying that everyone in the facility they're in negative every single day when they go for meetings. All they are told is and the guy now believes it. So I had a quick 5-minute talk with him on the weekend where I just gave him a serve and said, mate, just fucking what, I don't know why you're listening to those people for. And he's now suddenly completely changed. He's gone 180 and go, oh my God, I need to start working. I can actually improve. And when all he's been told is not improved. So, I see people now who've been, paralyzed 3 years, 4 years, further down the track, and they've gone through rehab centers. They've gone through world famous rehab centers in the States or in Europe. And then they call me, and I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll get you moving." And I have, as the videos you've seen have shown you, I have miraculous success with people. Just like I say, thanks to all my near-death experiences and shit that I've been through in my life, it gives you a whole different perspective of what needs to be done, and how to let people know it's going to be a fight, but I've got your back, so let's get fucking cracking at it.
Yeah, man, it's I've had back issues, not for years. I still do a little bit, but I had them really bad 20 years ago. When I was in Australia, everyone knew me back in the day for, at one point I had a walking stick, then I was in a wheelchair for a couple of weeks, as in, just because the disc had slipped, but I had everything, epidurals, I saw every sort of, like no one could do anything. And actually in the end, I lost a bit of weight and I just kind of mentally overcame it. I think I just thought, I went to bed every night thinking, right, I want to fix this and somehow fix, which sounds hocus pocus, but it wasn't. I just think I changed my mindset essentially around it,
I've been through that myself, and I think we talked last time we spoke about my mother.
Yeah.
Me being absolute a miserable fuck after my car accident, and my mum walking in and in 15 seconds setting me straight, and my brain just went, yep, from miserable, woe is me, I can't do anything, to get your ass out of bed, get moving.
Yeah.
And it is. And I see not people who even just talk to me. I go online and see on it every day. I see it over and over again with other people that have just worked this shit out. And it's sort of it's so easy when you see it, oh my God, if this person do it, then I can do it. But and I also know the reason that people don't think they can do it, because everyone has the same, human beings across the board all have the same psychological fault. And if you know what that fault is, it gives you a leg up in terms of how to fix their problems.
So true. How do people find you? Have you got a I don't mean share your website, but how do people find you? Have you got a kind of reputation in a certain place now, or is it like word of mouth?
I have every professional in the works in spinal cord hates my guts in the world, because trust me, I get cop abuse every day on Instagram and TikTok.
Oh, really?
And I can tell you, oh mate, yes, and I love it. I love it. I am so up for a fight. I wake up in the morning, if I don't have someone, I look at my messages. I'm like, damn it, no one fucking messaged me, wanted to call me out or telling me what I do is bullshit, and I get so depressed because I'm like, I just love it. And I some guy today gave me like 3 or 4 responses, basically going, yeah, you're full of crap, you're full of crap, you're full of crap, and I've just gone, mate, if I was full of crap, why the hell would you get so pissed off about someone who is full of crap? Doesn't make any sense. Don't teach common sense anymore. So. I've got some social media and word of mouth at the moment is also starting to, I had 3 patients in Spain. One of them, the one I saw in Portugal a couple of weeks ago, we talked about, and the wife walked out and everyone in the living room was looking at videos of what I had done with another patient who had been in that spot in Spain, and they were just like, oh my God, who is this guy? And then next thing you know, I've got 3 patients from the place, and 2 of them, the quadriplegic and the paraplegic, are back walking independently now. The C2 quadriplegic that I'm still working with, but at least got him out of the house now for the first time in 2 years. He got on a plane. He and his wife can now get him in and out of a car. He goes, for coffee and for a wine in the morning. So his life is now drastically improved from me going over to Portugal and spending an hour with him.
Awesome. Are you? Oh, okay. I was about to ask that. Yeah. Do you physically have to be with these people, right? You're not.
No. I get other people to do it every now and again. Like I've worked with this guy with a group of people with him for about a year and a half since he came out of the place in Spain, and was up for a vacation. And he lives in a beautiful part of the world in Madeira. And I said, shit, hey. You sort of, after one conversation, this is how the internet works. You sort of, I'm sitting here and all of a sudden I'm getting pictures on Instagram like, oh my God, what's this beautiful? What's the Hawaii of the Europe? The Hawaii of Europe. I've never heard of this place. I'm like, oh, this is the island that my patient lives on. I didn't know this. And look at it like, oh, we need to go and see it. So I said, mate, I'm going to come for a visit to your island because it looks fantastic. I'll stop in for an hour, see what I can do. And we had a great week's vacation. changed this guy's life after an hour, and so I come home feeling pretty good about myself.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Look, well, good intro. The work was only something we wanted to touch on, but super interesting. And I'll share some of your social links so people can go on there and get in arguments with you before they get their back fixed or however it works. So.
Yeah, fantastic.
But here to talk about your books. I've been on a bit of a roll really of interviewing people, chatting to people who've written their first book. But you've written how many? 5, 6? What are you up to?
I started with one, the really heartbreaking one first, and as I sort of said, after writing that, I was so depressed that I had to start writing, finding some books, or expressing myself with a little bit of humor, a little bit of fun, looking back on my life and going, really, is it as bad as I think it in at this stage? I mean, mental health is a bit of a passion with me. I don't know how you say you suffer with mental health. Is like I know that just the stress of life and the stress of bad situations, it can be all you can focus on. And I've gone through years of being sad every day, just sad every day, just looking forward to or thinking there's going to be misery when I get home, and then after I started writing, it helped me find happiness, or give me a reason to come home to be happy, and now I love it. I did it for years, writing emails to friends, just as a way of just being lonely, living away from Australia and being in the States. Like, what do I do? Okay, let's just write a couple of letters or emails about my what's been interesting that's happened to me this week. Sprinkle with a bit of humor, my particular humor. All my friends loved it. And so I thought, okay, so I was always told, mate, you need to write a book for years. And I finally said, okay, let me do it. And so, like I said, when I became depressed after writing the first one, I said, okay. And so I wrote just stories, essays of my experiences while I've been traveling, and just of life in general, just for people to laugh. Just say, oh my God, this guy takes the piss out of himself so easily. And it's just, I just think I'm the fucking funniest man alive, But as I say, and life has sort of helped along. I've been in some situations where you just scratch your head, like going, "How on earth did you do that?" And I woke up this morning. That's how it happened. It's not, nothing else I could do. I just fell over backwards into trouble, and you laugh about it afterwards and say, that's what life's about. If I can laugh about myself, then I'm Superman, because there's nothing anyone can do to me. Like I say, these people who want to abuse me online, oh my God. My friends abuse me more than you ever could. I abuse myself more than you ever could. You're not even at the starting line to come up with crap to pile on me. So that's why it's enjoyable for me. And I don't understand why people can't get that. In terms of like improving your mental health. To think, if you think you're down at the bottom, then no one can knock you down. You're already pretty much you're safe as houses.
So we're going to talk about My Second Life, which is your main book, which you've worked on because of the journey of that book, which has been around 14 years, if I'm right. And
14 years.
But you only published that book. That book got published last year, right? Am I right in that? But then you've got 4 or 5 other books. So just in terms of your writing journey, have you just been kind of writing for a long time and then published at different times, and then that one book,
there were several iterations. It started off being just the whole thing being my sort of journey since I came to the States. That was the first iteration of the book, and it was 3 parts. And then I sort of like, okay, just you sort of have this feeling, this isn't really. The story sort of evolved more, and I went, I've watered it down too much, being in 3 books. I need to maybe focus on it a little bit. I mean, one of my friends who's a journo in Australia just happened to say, you should write a book about this situation, this depressing situation in your life, as a way of just helping you. And I thank her every day for giving me the what's name, okay, I will. But I say that the cover was shit. The writing was shit because I'd never really written before. So, okay, scrap that, go over and start again. And that in itself takes a lot of, crap. I put all these years of work in, and, now I'm just going back saying, that's just how life is. You get get knocked back down. It's like snakes and ladders. Get up the ladder, get knocked back down by the snake, start at the bottom of it, and you just smile about it and go, yep, okay, keep going. So I wrote it again, changed it, again, same thing. Yeah, scrap that after a couple of years. And then just last year, I sat down again and just went, you know what, right, I need to do this, fucking seriously. It's been just a process for me. And so I said, right, there's again, the situation started becoming more desperate and more depressing. So I said, I'm gonna write this now. I'm just gonna basically, you always sort of hold back a little bit and go, I don't really want to, open it. And I just went, screw that. I just nothing's going to be left on the table. I'm just going to write exactly as I feel. Gave it to a mate to read. He said, mate, it's fucking fantastic. Just go back and edit out the 427 fucks in the book and you'll be golden. And so okay.
Was that an Australian mate? Sounds like Australian advice.
Yes. I do tend to, he said the story and whatever I understand that's it, but trust me. So I just went edit,
how many were there?
Space. There were hundreds, mate. I can't speak a sentence without using the word F in regular life. Never have. And I blame it on my TBI, my brain injury after my car accident. It's given me a sense, a rare form of Tourette's syndrome that undiagnosed by a doctor, but that's what I hide behind. And so I sit there and say, you know what? Well, you want to make fun of me because I've had a serious car accident and a brain injury. That's not very nice of you. So
fuck you.
Nothing I can do about this. Nothing I can do about the situation. Exactly. Fuck you.
All right, so, I'll give you that one. I wouldn't argue with you on it, but it does feel like a slightly thin argument to. I met a lot of Australian people. I lived in Australia for 10 years.
Way for thin, mate. That's all it needs to be. Way for thin. That's all it needs to be.
All right, let's. This links nicely into the book. So, and I'm gonna. So the book, my second life, which is I haven't read the book obviously, but we know each other a little bit now from research and. I've seen you read. I think it was like you were reading a review that you sent me, stuff like that. So I get a sense of it, but I'll give my sense of it. So this is really a memoir of an ongoing tragic story of the situation of yourself with your son, who is now 15? Is that right? So
15, yes.
Yeah, who was kidnapped by your ex, who's in South America. But the book itself, which has been the kind of, I suppose, your reflection and, this is definitely not a strong word, as we've spoken before, your anger through that process channeled into writing, essentially. But the first half of the book is not that, right? The first half is about your own experience before that and some of the crazy shit you dealt with in terms of close nicks and things like that. Is that right? Do you want to give me the first half first and then,
Yeah, the first story is me walking into a kangaroo cage in Australia as a little boy, and the kangaroo starts beating me up. I just wandered away from my family, and and my dad reaches over and plucks me out, and I just think the world of my dad. I'll burst into tears, but I there's no other man on the planet that I have more respect for, more whatever, and the bond that a father has with his son to me is sacred. It's and I spent my life just thinking I'm going to be the most amazing father when I get to be a father. One experience that I had with my dad, like I never called my dad. I sort of lived through life going, I never want to be a burden on my dad. I never want to ask him for help or whatever. And one day I needed some advice or something, and I called him up and on the cell phone, and my dad was the chancellor of a university back in Australia, and he's having a big board meeting with all these other people or whatever, and the phone rings and it's me. And because I never call him, Dad's, oh shoot, this must be an emergency. And it's some trivial thing that I wanted to ask him that he had expertise in, or whatever. And so Dad basically says, excuse me, and we're having this important meeting, and he's just basically gone, screw you, my son's calling, that's more important than this, because he never calls, so I've got to go take it. Goes and locks himself into a closet so that he doesn't disturb us. And he's sitting there having a conversation with me for 5 minutes. Thanks, Dad. Goes back to, and I just go, that sums up life. Your kids are more valuable than your work, your meeting, whatever. And that's always that's what made me feel so special. And that's what I wanted. I realized that's what a good parent does to their for their kid, and that's what I wanted to be for my children when I had them. And then, of course, it's been anything but that for my kid, and I am scared shitless of how he's going to imagine. I live with an amazing woman who's the father of her child, walked out the door, didn't want to have anything to do with his kid, and he's now 18, and I see the struggles that he is having because of that, and he will talk about it. He can, and I see that, and the fact that this guy's an asshole, and I can't, and there are men that do that, and this my story is exactly the opposite. I would do anything to be in my son's life, and I've been prevented by my ex-wife, by the legal system, by lawyers, by governments, by everyone who just basically goes, we don't give a crap about you or your kid, and that to me just sums up, my anger of who are you then, to deny this kid the love of his father, which is essentially what you've done.
Yeah, right. So now I understand the connection. Obviously, the beginning, that first story with the kangaroo accident, the relevance, and your father, and then linking into the second half of the book. So, and the second half of the book and this journey in your life started when he was born or just afterwards. So you were down there.
He was kidnapped when he was 1 year. I lived in Brazil for a year, but we were living in Miami. And she, basically, it wasn't even the first time that she took him. She took him when he was 6 weeks old. I went to Brazil and stayed there for 6 months, and I had to beg and plead for her to come back, and move mountains for her to come back. And then I sort of realized, and after she took him again the second time, and then I was sort of like hired a lawyer down there, and then the lawyer sort of like, you don't know what I've uncovered. They've been lying to you for years. Her family, your all your money that you had invested, they've changed it all over into their name, and they did that years before the kid was even born. They've been feeding you a lot of bullshit for years. You were just pretty much a mark. You were just someone that, you're gonna help have them have a better life, but basically they're just going to take all your money, and there's nothing that can be done to get back. And I just went, I don't care about the money. I'll start over again from scratch. That's fucking gone up the ladder. I'm back down that snake down at the bottom. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
I can't deal with not being there for my son. That's what I put. That's where my importance in life lies.
You just remind me. I won't go into the full story, but there's some similar stories that you hear in this part of the world. I'm sure it's the same in lots of countries where you've got different cultures, different systems, or lack of systems, frankly. But yeah, I've heard some very similar stories here in slightly different contexts. But and I suppose, what I was going to ask, which is linked to that. I imagine at the beginning of that process, you kind of thought, this will get sorted out. It'll take me a year. Couple of years. Was that kind of your mental kind of approach to it? Was probably pretty okay, I need to sort this shit out. It's going to take me a few months, or it's going to take me a year. And then I imagine that is what slowly erodes over the time and over the different, is that kind of what happened?
Yeah. And I had faith in the Hague Convention. I had faith in the legal system. I had faith in governments, and it was just eviscerated. And that again goes back, when you talk about the first half of the book, it goes back to a story I can really tell of when I was in India, and I'm coming back from the Taj Mahal, driving back to Delhi in the car, and there's a truck in front of me with a couple of people sitting on top of the truck, the same way Indians do, and that's how they transport. They just run into the back of the truck, jump on it, climb up the back, and you could see some guy crawling, starting to climb down the truck, and I'm like, the driver's going to stop, and my driver goes, no, they just jump off the back of the truck. And and the truck's still moving. So this guy jumps, hits the ground, and you just see the bone just come out of his leg on the side of his leg. And I've just gone, oh my God, shouldn't we stop? And you look down, and everyone's walking past him on the side of the road, and they're going, how's he going to get to hospital? And my driver goes, no, he's just going to die there. That's it.
Yeah.
No one's going to, he's done. And that's one of the other premises. What's the name of the book? No one is going to help you when you are down. India has 1 billion people. There's not one person in 1 billion who's going to stop to help some guy that's jumped off the back truck and broken his leg, and he is just going to perish on the side of the road. And he should have known that before he jumped off the back of the truck. That's his decision. But that's where I sort of went. You're alone in this world. There's when the shit hits the fan, no one's going to be help you, and that's what I deal every day with my spinal cord and TBI patients. Everyone says, oh yeah, we're going to be there to help you. Okay, we need your help. I can't do it today, or you know what, maybe next week, or really not the time. That's what every one of my patients finds. Their best friends, everyone, the people who maybe pushed them into the pool that broke their neck. Oh, I'm not going to be your best friend anymore. That is how the world is. You know, you are alone. You know, you need to work out how to sort out your shit by yourself. You know, because that is, it's really tough for people to handle. People suddenly go like that. That's what people deal with, and it breaks them. You know, to go, wow. So. And I sit there and say, you know what, I've seen this my whole entire life. You know, that's how I sort of felt growing up. You know, I got teased a lot for having red hair, always felt like I was alone. I feel sorry for the people that grow up being popular and fancy, and then they get to be in a situation where they are alone. They would have no idea how to deal with it.
Yeah, very true. I mean, through this process, and I can't even I can empathize, but I can't relate. I've not had to deal with probably something as challenging as this. You know, have there been optimistic moments, or has it just been a fucking massive uphill battle as you go, and it's got harder and harder, you know, in terms of that journey?
The moments I've actually got to spend with my kid when I have gone down there, and the court did half-assed go, yeah, you know, we think it's a good idea for you to see your kid. Can't be alone with your kid because, you know, you're a foreigner, and we don't trust foreigners in our country, but you can at least see your kid. In that moment, I have absolute blinders on. It is all about my kid, and that's the part of the second life where I went down to Brazil and I was arrested getting off the plane, thrown in a jail, and on the drive to get an ankle monitor put on my ankle so I could be monitored while I was in Brazil, because my ex basically said, oh, he's come here to kill me, despite the fact I've got a judge ruling say, hey, he's here to visit his kid, that's why he's coming to Brazil. I haven't seen her in 2 years at this point. I've, you know, no desire to see her. And the three policemen in the car, one of them has a submachine gun pointed at my head, and he starts an argument. Let's just fucking shoot him and go and throw his body in a dumpster, and, you know, that's it. You know, and the other one guy's like, that's not such a good idea, and the other guy's like, yeah, okay, yeah, what's it to us? You know, we hate foreigners. He's some rich American guy who's, you know, what's name in a Brazilian girl. Yeah, so I've got to fucking sit there sweating my fucking balls off for half an hour while I'm driving up back alleys in downtown Rio, and I'm like, going, these guys are looking for a place to dump me.
Yeah,
you know? And finally, the one guy who sort of was like, yeah, on the fence, he said, no, that's probably not a good idea. You know, his lawyer did see him getting into our car. So, you know, there is, and I'm like, going, yeah, you guys didn't think of that before? That didn't bother you? How fucking corrupt is your system if you didn't even really care that someone witnessed me getting in the friggin' car? And how are you going to explain that, yeah, my body ended up in a dumpster out of a police car?
Yeah,
right. You know, then I forgot sort of why I was getting that. Then I went and spent a little bit of time with my son, and was like, got out of the police car when I finally, you know, got out to get the ankle bracelet on, and I'm like, I'm not coming back to this place ever again. This is too dangerous. I'm going to lose my life. You know,
I'm surprised.
over whatever. And we went to the beach. My son is scared of waves, and he can't, you know. And we went in, and we were body surfing, and we paddleboarded, and he got out of the beach, out of the water, and he's staring at the water with his towel over his shoulders for 20 minutes, and you could just see his chest just go, wow, I conquered my fear. You know, I did it. I was out there, you know, and my heart broke. I can't abandon this kid. You know, you know, if I die, who gives a fuck? His life is more important than mine. And that's the whole premise of the book. You enter your second life when you realize that there is something more important, you know, than your life. And being scared of dying is, you know, you get over that, and you can do anything.
For sure. Through this process, have you met, you know, I think probably the answer is no. I think we kind of talked about this before, but just as you're talking, I'm thinking, you know, there's got to be other people with different stories, but with similar conditions. Like, have you come across other people dealing with the same shit when you've been through this, and therefore that's helped or not helped, or
I went to a meeting of 3,000 other parents who've had their kids
Okay.
abducted out of America
Wow. Okay.
in
Right.
Washington, D.C., where Hillary Clinton got up and spoke to us and pretty much, you know, in terms of people who give hope to other people, there is no one on this fucking planet who gives less hope to other people than Hillary Clinton. And basically, the impression that we got
Yeah.
was from her, like, I don't give a kid a scuff about your kids. You know, I'm the Secretary of State at this stage, but really, you know, nothing I can do. But I'm just here to tell you, I feel really sorry for you, and I hope that's
So,
enough.
what was she there as a paid speaker or something? So it wasn't her gig. She
She
was
was
just brought along as a.
she was the secretary. She was the
Oh,
Secretary of
right.
State at the
Right.
time.
Okay.
So that puts her over the Office of Children Issues, which is the department that's supposed to be helping American people with negotiations with the foreign governments to be able to have a legal process to be able to get our kids back or to see our kids. I mean, we went and had meetings with the FBI and whatever. This is how screwed up it is. And I wrote about this in the book. So we go to the FBI, okay, and we have meetings with the FBI, and they all tell us, listen, so because your kids are out of the USA, even though they're US citizens, we don't have any jurisdiction. There is nothing we can do. Okay, it's the foreign government, the foreign police force, the foreign. It's we have no control over how they run the country. So the best thing that you can do as left behind parents is to keep in contact with your kids and let them know that you love them. And everyone goes, mate, that's the whole reason that we are here.
Yeah.
We aren't allowed to keep in contact with our kids because that's what the other person prevents. How stupid can you be? And you are the FBI saying that to our faces. It just shows you have no idea of, the situation. And then you hear some senator has his grandkid taken by, a woman and goes to Mexico. And sure enough, within fucking 4 days, boom, the Mexican government's rounded up the guy, the kid's brought back to America, and you pretty much go, yeah, this is all a load of bullshit. You know, you see that and go, yeah, everything is a load of bullshit. Everything is basically a load of crap, just words to speak. The same way that the people, my spinal cord patients, they go into hospital and they are given words by the doctor. They're given words by the therapist, but nothing actually done to actually change their condition. I don't fucking speak because all I do is say fuck, 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 fuck. You know, so I just walk in the room and say, right, we're going to get you up, we're going to get you walking, and I'll make it happen. There's a difference between words and there's a difference between actions. And politicians, lawyers, 99% of this planet just exist on, I'm going to say something, but I'm going to do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, true enough.
That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned. That's what my book is about. Same thing with my other books about travel. There are people who travel. They go on. I went and saw the Eiffel Tower. What did you do there? Did you abuse any of the guys who are the scam artists at the base of the wasn't? Did you get in a fight with someone? Did you do anything other than just look at the Eiffel Tower and take a picture? No. Well, that's not mean harsh, but that's pretty fucking boring. Everyone on the planet, does that. Don't you have something interesting that you did? And so that's why I wrote about it, I wrote that just to laugh about the fact that I didn't just go somewhere. I went and did something that no one else has ever done. It's a fun story that again, taking piss out of myself. It's not like I'm going and hurting anyone. I'm just basically saying I went and went to Germany and I jumped into a group of the German Mafia that are dancing on the dance floor, and I inserted myself in the middle and I fucking ripped out the best white man dance moves that anyone's ever seen on the planet. And I thought they were going to beat the crap out of me, and they bought me a drink.
Fair play. Hey, but I want to ask you about these travel books, but just before we do, I just want to also just cap it on My Second Life. I just have one more question, and also at the end, for anyone listening, watching, I will also leave all of these links to where people can read more about your books and even buy your books and everything else. But if someone buys your book, My Second Life, and you've obviously put a lot of emotion, a lot of effort. I mean, that's been your venting by the sound of it, in terms of, you've got all that stuff out and put it onto paper and done, what sounds like a brilliant job of putting it into a book. What do you hope the reader gets out of the experience of reading that book?
To appreciate their goddamn life. If you have a kid, go and fucking hug your kid to death. The next point, and just sit there and go, not wanting to be too smart. If you think you love your kid enough, Trust me, you don't even come close. Okay, the whole reason I can make spinal cords walking in and TBI, people have abandoned. Okay, I do that out of love for my son, praying and hoping that someone's going to notice it and go, my God, how is it there's one yobbo from Australia can do something that not the best doctors, not the best spinal cord researchers, or spinal cord therapists on the planet can do, and he can do it, does it time and time and time and time again. I have 3 new patients that I started 2 weeks ago. All of them are kids under the age of 18. Some, I think the longest has been paralyzed for 3 years. All of them now standing up on their own. It's taken me less than 2 weeks. Okay? No one else in the world has ever done that with a single spinal cord patient. Okay? I can do it with 3 people in 2 weeks. Okay? Why do I do it? Because that's how much I love my son. If something like that happened to my son, for God's sake, I would move mountains. I've learned how to move mountains for the fear that what happens if something happened to my kid, and I had to be the only one, because I know the doctors aren't going to give a shit. I know the nurses aren't going to really give a shit. The therapists aren't really going to give a shit. The only person who's really going to give a shit is me. And I love my son so much that I'll even go out and help complete strangers do the same thing, just to show this world, this is how much a person is able to love their kid. And I'm not even allowed to see my kid. That's how I hope people get out of the book. They go, you know what, damn, yeah, I can be a better person starting tomorrow, starting today. Because there's a lot of shit in this world, and if you see shit, I remember when I was a young kid in Townsville. I don't know, maybe I was 6 or 7, and Mum wanted a key cut, and so I went up to the little key cutting place in the department store, and the person who was cutting the keys was obviously developmentally delayed or disabled or had a problem, and they tried to make the key the first time and they made a mistake, and so they had to go and do it again. And I felt really guilty because you've wasted some keys, and I've got I'm only paying you for 2 keys, and you've screwed up 4 of them. And a couple of guys in suits walked past, and they started making fun of the poor guy behind the desk doing the best that he could. And they walked out, and they all thought they were smart. I followed them outside, and I gave them the fucking serve to end all serves on the side of the street. Okay, 6-year-old kid swearing like nobody's. You pieces of fucking shit! How dare you, fucking, treat that man like he was nothing? How fucking dare you? And if you walking down the street and you see someone abusing someone else and you can't do that, I'm sorry, you're a bigger piece of shit than that guy.
True enough.
People may say that's not a very good way to live. Then okay, well, go live your life the way you want, and don't call me if you need help. Quite simple. If you're not willing to step up to help someone else, then please, if your kid gets a spinal cord injury, don't call me. Don't call me. Yeah.
Cool. Look,
what comes around goes.
True enough. I'm mindful of time. We've got 40 minutes, but I want to do I want to do a quick assessment on. And sorry if I'm asking too many deep questions, because I certainly don't want to upset you. But I know it's tough for some of this stuff. But let's talk about your other book, your travel books. Just let's kind of end off. I think, have you got them all there? Have you? And I don't.
Yep.
I know there's one on Thailand. There's probably. We don't want to go for another hour. You probably could if we try and do a story from each. But just talk me. Are they all travel books apart from My Second Life? Are they? Pretty much.
Yeah. So they're all. I've traveled all over the world. I've when working in my job, I've sometimes, I'm jack of this. I'm just going to quit. And my 30th birthday after my car accident, I sort of realized, I've never been to Europe. I nearly died, and I've never been to Europe. So you know what? For my 30th birthday, quit my job, going to travel around the world for 6 months.
Yeah.
Spend time in Europe, Nepal, India, Bangkok, Tahiti, some time in Australia, hiding out to surprise mum for her 60th birthday. I've been to South America, obviously, half a dozen times. I went to Uruguay for a rugby tour 30 years ago. I've been to the Bahamas during a cyclone. Had a cyclone in Miami. Just things have sort of happened. Been to Japan, been to Hong Kong to play in the sevens. Went to the airport, supposed to go to Bali, not allowed into Bali because my passport doesn't have enough months left on the thing. So I've gone, beg the woman, please send me somewhere. Just don't leave me in Hong Kong. So she sent me to Thailand. I arrived in Phuket, and I don't know anyone, don't know what to do. So I sort of hang out the whole week trying to avoid going to the brothels, because that's what everyone's pretty much not judged. We know why you're here. Good luck, son. I mean, it's funny when you're in Thailand. Women who probably would like, oh my god, the prostitutes are in Thailand. They're all like, oh yeah, we know what you're here for. That there's like everyone acts differently when they're out of their own country. So there's just stories of just things that have happened that have
have you got your Thailand book there? Have you got the one on Thailand?
Yeah.
So you pretty how to start a riot in a brothel in Thailand by ordering a beer. Another lesser known travel tip. So you essentially you can take a trip and you come back with a travel book by the sound of it. Pretty much. I mean,
I literally. I mean, so I'm terrified of heights. So I've just been to Madeira. If you know what Madeira is this friggin' steep ass friggin' island off the coast of Morocco, where every road is a switchback to get there. And we wanted to go for a hike, an early morning hike, see the sunrise up the highest mountain in Madeira, and I'm literally like freaking out driving around and on streets in the morning. The GPS doesn't work because of all the mountains, doesn't do a GPS, driving up hills that are going, I think the car's going to tip over backwards. And I'm just like having a friggin' meltdown. And my girlfriend's just laughing her ass off, and at the time I'm like, I was scared crapless. Now I can look back at it afterwards and say, that's actually pretty funny. I'm pretty hopeless, but I can write a funny story about what it's like trying to drive around to find a place, to go to a place where I'm just going to be scared shitless, walking on mountain edges. Well, why would I do that? Simply because I'm just trying to overcome my fear and get a laugh out of it later on.
Fair play. Well, I mean, look, it sounds like you certainly got a talent for writing, and it's definitely obviously you obviously enjoy it. And I mean, I'm just working on my first book, and the effort I've had to put in, but it's to take one trip to Thailand and be able to write a book is something else. So it's I didn't have any other questions. Where can people find out more about you, buy your books, before they go traveling?
I'm on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Simon Yeates. If you find the first one, How to Start a Riot in a Brothel in Thailand by ordering
is that your first book? Is it the Thailand one?
That's the first one. That's sort of
as I'm based in Thailand. As I'm based in Thailand, give us the Thailand story. I mean, not the whole book, but tell us how that book came about, because I'm sure people that I know in Thailand would be interested to hear the story. If you can do a short version of
Okay. So I'm in Hong Kong. I played in the Hong Kong Tens with a team from Japan of guys I've never met before. We go to the train station to take us to the airport on the last day. We are nearly all arrested arriving at the airport because the guys who were in the taxis had arrived half an hour early from the 8 o'clock pickup, and they wanted to be paid for that half an hour sitting and waiting. And we were like, we're not paying you. We told you to be here at 8 o'clock. In fact, you came at 7:30. It's not our fault. So the police are called, and I've got my flight's earlier than everyone else's. So it's like, yeah, mate, we'll sort it out. You get the hell out of here. And I have no idea if the guys were arrested or what the hell happened in the end. So I've gone over to the counter, showing my passport. Sorry, you can't get into Bali. From here, you don't have a passport. So I'm like, oh, please. Okay, I'll send me to Phuket. So the lady was nice enough to I'll exchange it for a flight to Phuket for a week. So I arrive in Phuket, no idea about the place, no idea what's going on, and emailed my mates, wrote this little story. Oh my God, I've ended up in Phuket, even though I was supposed to be in Bali. How the hell does that happen? And one of my mates in Los Angeles goes, I used to play rugby for a team in Bangkok. I know a couple of guys that live in Phuket. Here's their contact details. Catch up, they'll look after you. So I went, after I said, as avoiding going to the brothels for the entire week, I go and watch a rugby game on Saturday night and have a beer with these guys. And after the game's over, they're like, Bangalore Road, let's go, guys. And I'm like, oh, crap. I can't wimp out because I look like the biggest pussy in the world. And of course, as my life has happened, something that's happened on the other side of the world has always gotten back to people I know in Australia, has gotten back to family, whatever. I can't hide in this world. There are lots of stories in my books about my brother being in South America. I've been something about being in Antarctica, okay, and something happening there with some dickhead and I've run into that dickhead years later, and reckon like how coincidental is that? Multiple stories of those sort of occurrences. So I am thinking, I can't. If I don't go, word will find out that I, wimped out and I'll have to turn in my man card. So I'm like, okay, guys, I'll go. So we go to the bar. I'm drinking, just sort of stand there, and they're all chatting with their regular girls and whatever. And I decide I'll quickly go take a slash, and then I'll come back, finish my beer, and I'll go home. Coming back from the toilet, some girl at another bar is like, oh, hi, and start chatting to me. And I'm like, yeah, sort of start chatting and just like going, well, I'm over here with my guys at another bar. If you want to come over and talk with me, that's it. But I'm not going to, no further than that. So she's like, thinks she's found her mark. So she's followed me over to the other bar. And as you would know, or any self-respecting man, woman and child who's been to Thailand would know, there's such a protocol such as a bar fine, which occurs to if you're a girl who works for one bar, okay, and you go to another bar, the person who takes you to the other bar has to pay a fine to the owner of the bar that you're at. I don't know this. I'm naive. I don't know everything that goes on in the world. So I'm chatting with the girl, and the bar owner comes up to me and is like, rather rudely, mate, you need to pay me money. I'm like, why? I'm like, for the girl. I'm like, I'm not doing anything with the girl. Just for her to be here, you have to pay money. And I'm like, it's like $100 or $100 baht or I can't even remember what the name was. And again, I'm a pretty cheap guy, and when it comes to negotiations, my starting point is always zero. How much are you willing to pay? I'm willing to pay nothing because I don't want what you're selling me, but you've got to try to convince me to buy. So of course, this guy's like going, $100 for the girl. I'm not going to pay $100. Well, how much are you willing to pay then? And I've gone my usual. I'm willing to pay zero, and that infuriated him. So he took a swing at me. And of course, the English guys who I'm with are there like, all right, it's on. And so they start getting into a fight with the bar owner, into locals, punch on, and this just spills out into the other whatever's, and it's just mayhem. And I've just jumped behind the bar and crouching behind the bar, and the barman sort of goes, mate, there's an exit out the back, just get yourself out of here. So I've just sort of crawled out the back and sort of wandered off to my hotel. And
wrote a book. Fair play.
And then go back and just wrote a book about that little experience to sort of go, the most cost conscious, naive, what same person can get himself into all sorts of trouble. But that's it. Then at the end, it's like, it's something to laugh about. I've bungee jumped off a bridge in South Africa that terrified the pants off me, 220 meters straight down. I can sit back and look at it now and laugh about it, but at the time it's like, there was no laughing involved whatsoever.
Yeah, right. Cool. Look, Simon, it's been good to chat. I appreciate you taking the time before you're getting into your working day. And look, I wish you the best of luck with the whole thing. And I'm sure you heard that a million times, but I realise it must be super challenging. And congrats on getting a book out there anyway. And hopefully people read it and learn from it and give if they can. You never know. So
cheers, mate.
We'll keep in touch, and I'll share this out, and people can get in contact. I'll leave your details on there and everything else. So. But all the best, mate.
Perfect. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
To Muhammad Ali and Sonny Barker, the president of the Hells Angels.
This is 1095.